Hello everyone, this is Captain Akansha, and in today's video we are going to discuss about pressure, which is the second chapter of meteorology. I have already discussed about the first chapter, atmosphere, so you can go and watch our previous videos, and if you have any query, let me know in the comment section. So let's start today's class. So the first question comes up in our mind when we talk about pressure is, what is atmospheric pressure, right? So atmospheric pressure is basically the weight of the air molecule. It is the weight of the air molecule that is basically pressure. So for example, this is scenario 1 and this is scenario 2. There is a person A and there is a person B. So both are living in different environment. Let's say in this environment there are 20, 50, 30 molecules are there. So all will put their weight, right? So this person A will experience more force. Why? More pressure. Why? Because there is more molecules. So weight of the molecule basically I said. So more molecule, more weight. That means more pressure. And if I talk about scenario B or second case, in that case less molecule is there. They will exert less pressure. Why? Because their weight is less. So in general you can say, what is the atmospheric pressure? Atmospheric pressure is basically weight of the column of air. If you will take for the sake of understanding column of air, then whatever weight it will exert over here, that will be the pressure of this column of air. As we can see here, more molecules are here, so more pressure, and in this less pressure. That is in simple atmospheric pressure. Now the next question comes up is types of pressure. There are two types of pressure. One is static pressure and the other one is dynamic pressure. Then the question comes up, what is static pressure, right? So static pressure is those pressure which is exerted by air molecule only, but when the air molecule is at rest. So in general we can say that the pressure exerted by the air molecule which is at rest is known as static pressure. Okay. Then this pressure acts in all direction. It's not like that it will just act downward or upward. No, whatever molecule is there, static molecule, air which is not moving, they will exert pressure in all direction like this, okay. And then apart from that, we will see that static pressure is inversely proportional to height. How? Okay, so for that, let's see here. So there are two person A, person B. You can see person is on the ground, person B is on the mountain, right? So of course, what we have seen, more molecule, more weight, more pressure. So here you can see this person is experiencing molecules above it, right? Let's say this is a 10 molecule. There it's also 10 molecule, let's say. But this person will experience more pressure because let's say 10 more molecule is in this space. So you can say that more higher you will go, less molecule will be there, and so less pressure will be there. While on the ground, more molecules are here, so more pressure. That's the reason pressure of A is more than pressure of B. So that's why we can say that static pressure is more at A, that means at lower height. So height is more, that is B, static pressure is less, and height is less, static pressure is more. Now then question comes up, what is dynamic pressure, right? So dynamic pressure is the pressure exerted by air molecule which is in motion. When air molecule will be in the motion, that time the pressure they will exert will be our dynamic pressure. Very simple example which definitely you must have experienced is the cycle of a bicycle or motorcycle. So let's say you are sitting behind and your friend is riding this. You have holded a banner, okay, in your hand like this. Then of course you are going forward. In that case, of course there are molecules, right? There will be molecules like this, and along with this there will be molecules here and there as well, this red molecule, okay. So consider this red molecule which will not come in your way, that is static molecule. The molecules are always present over there, but the molecules which will come into your way, they will move opposite to your direction. So if you are coming forward, these molecules will go backward, and they will exert pressure on your banner, and that you must have felt when actually you will do this. Your hand will go backward, right? Your hand will go backward. You will feel that pressure on your banner. So that pressure is basically dynamic pressure. But as I have said, other molecules are also present. They are not going against you because they are not coming exactly in your way. So you are not experiencing them in that way. So they are still and they are present. So they will also exert pressure. As we have seen, all molecules are exerting pressure in all directions. So these are the static pressure and this is the dynamic pressure. Now there is a one more term, pitot pressure. What is then pitot pressure? So dynamic plus static pressure. So this person which is experiencing this and this, static plus dynamic. So the whole total pressure will be known as pitot pressure. So static plus dynamic is known as pitot pressure. Okay. Now if I talk about dynamic pressure, the formula of dynamic pressure is half of rho v square. Okay, rho stands for density. That means if more molecule is there, that means more density will be there, more dense it will be, right? So from here we can say that density is directly proportional to, from here we can say that dynamic pressure is directly proportional to density. That means more molecule will be there, more dynamic pressure. How you can more increase the molecule? Of course, one is height, like with the height of course it will decrease, that will be there, molecule will decrease. But apart from that, if you will increase the speed, also then you will experience more air molecule. If your speed is, let's say, less, then less air will come to you. If your speed is more air will come to you, and hence more dynamic pressure will be there. That's the reason dynamic pressure is also directly proportional to your speed, that is V. So this was all about dynamic and static pressure. Now let's see other thing. Now question comes up, how we will measure the pressure, right? So the normal way to measure it is bar, but to measure the small changes of pressure, we use the 1000 part of bar, that is millibar. Okay, and apart from that we also use hectopascal. Pascal you must have heard, right? Pascal is used for pressure. So hectopascal means 100 times of Pascal basically. Okay, then apart from that there are other units as well to measure pressure, that is hectopascal we have discussed, then millimeter of mercury and 29 inches of mercury, 760 millimeter of mercury, like that. Okay, then apart from that, for measurement there are two devices. First is mercury barometer and other one is aneroid barometer. Then after this there is one more interesting term, that is isobars. What is isobars? So isobars are basically the lines on the map of chart which join places having equal pressure. Okay, so if I talk about this figure, in this figure you can see that this magenta line is joining places having equal pressure of 1010, 1010, right? These places have 1010 pressure, right? And this line is joining all the places having 1010. So this is one isobar. In the same way, this one, this another one, it has 1012, 1012 and 1012. So this line is joining 1012. This is another isobars. From here you can make difference. This is one isobar, the other one is another isobar. So isobars are basically lines on the maps or charts which are joining points or places having equal pressure. Then the next thing is pressure gradient force. Okay, so before discussing pressure gradient force, we will see what is pressure gradient. So pressure gradient is basically change in pressure with distance. For example, here if the pressure is 1010 and after 1 kilometer the pressure is 1012. So my pressure gradient will be 2 hectopascal. Like how much pressure changes from within 1 kilometer. So with distance, how much pressure change? That is your pressure gradient. Now the question is, what is pressure gradient force? So we can say that the force which is acting from high pressure area to low pressure area, that force is basically pressure gradient force. Okay. Now apart from that, these isobars which we have discussed, that is a very special thing, as they can tell you by their gap, is it a high pressure area or low pressure area. So if the isobars are closely placed or closely packed, okay, that means that is a low pressure area. And also the other thing you need to remember from that, the pressure change will be large. For example, if you are seeing at A and B, in this distance there will be 5 hectopascal change. So pressure change between A and B will be more, and other thing will be that it will be a low pressure area if the isobars are closely packed. Completely opposite of it, if our isobars are far apart or widely placed like this, then it is a high pressure area, and in this, within the same distance, the pressure change will be low. So for example, if this is 1 kilometer, so within 1 kilometer, here the pressure change is hectopascal, 5 hectopascal, and in this, if you will see that 1 kilometer will give you 1 hectopascal. So pressure change will be less and it will be a high pressure area. So that was all about isobars. Now let's move to another topic, that is effect of temperature on vertical pressure variation. Okay, so I want you to remember one thing, that is on Earth's surface cold air will have more pressure and warm air will have less pressure. Why? Because cold air is more dense, so they will have more weight and basically they will fall fast, and that's the reason they will have more pressure. While the scenario will be completely opposite when we talk about the air. In air, cold air will have less pressure while warm air will have more pressure. Why? Because warm air will move very fast here and there, and because of which it will create high pressure. When a lot of people are there, of course, lot of pressure is there. In the same way, more molecules are there, more pressure will be there. So that is the scenario of earth and air, that you need to understand, because a lot of students get confused that in some question cold air has more pressure and then other question warm air has more pressure, so they get confused. So there is a difference, you are talking about air or you are talking about earth. But I can give you the trick that 95% time they will ask you about air only, they will not ask you about the earth. Okay, so this is the thing. Now apart from that, we will discuss about, as I said, about the, if I talk about the air, so warm air will have high pressure, right, and cold air will have low pressure. What does that mean? So if I talk about, let's say a normal pressure 1010, let's say 1010 is here, 1010 is here, okay, but this 1010 pressure, if I will see in the high pressure area, it will be a bit above of it. Why? Because we know that in warm area, molecule go, they get the energy and they go up and go, right? They go here and there. So they will be diverted, go here and there. So it will be, you will find 1010 pressure over here. While in cold pressure area, molecules are dense and they will try to settle down. So they 1010 will be here. So can you see 1010 is the pressure, right, here in the normal region, while in the warm region it is at more height. The same pressure is there, but it is at more height, while in cold it is at less height. So as we know that if this is 1010, this is 1010, then the lines which is joining these two will be isobars. Then we can say that this is one isobar, right? But what we need to notice over here, if you are going from high pressure to low pressure area, this isobar will dip. Dip means vertical line will go down, so that will dip. And exactly opposite of it, if you are going from low pressure area to high pressure area, what you are seeing? That vertical line will go up. So basically it will rise. So you need to remember it, when you are going from high to low, your isobar will dip, and when you are going from low to high, your isobar will rise. So that is the concept. Now in ISA condition, you will see that there is no difference in height. Now your question is, what is ISA condition? I have already discussed about it in last video. You can just go and check out that and you will get in detail, because it will take already a lot of time. So now it says that in ISA condition, this height will be same, like there is no difference in up and down, dip and rise. They will be at same height in ISA condition. So now you will ask what is ISA condition. So about ISA condition I have already made a video, you just go and watch them. Okay, so in ISA condition both will have on the same height, but if our atmosphere is actual warmer than ISA condition, so example, ISA is saying temperature should be 15, but in actual environment temperature is 18, so our environment is warmer. In that case, if the height will be 10,000 in ISA condition, because our environment is hotter than the ISA, so now my height will not be 10,000 at the same height. At the same height my height will show 10,200. So now I want you to remember one thing without even asking why, is high low high, low high low. What does that mean? That means if you are going from high pressure or temperature to low pressure and temperature, okay, if you are going, suppose let's say high pressure to low pressure or high temperature to low temperature, then your height will be high. That means overread. High means overread, your instrument will overread. And in the same way, if you are going low temperature to high temperature, that means cold to warm, or low pressure to high pressure, then it will be L. It is the result of L. What is that L mean? Is underread. Your instrument will underread about your height. Okay, so that is what it is written. If you are going from high pressure to low pressure, it will overread. Low pressure to high pressure, it will underread, because low high low, and low means underread. High low high, high means overread. And then again warm means high temperature, high temperature to cold means low temperature, so high low high, so it will overread. And again cold to warm, that means low temperature to high temperature. What will it will be? Low high low, so underread. But please remember that low means this third one, L means underread, low means underread, and H, that means high, means overread. Okay, so yes, after that there is one thing which will clear your mind as well and help you in question. So there is just one statement: if QNH is high and altimeter setting is low, let's say our QNH is 1010, okay, and I have set in altimeter low, that means I have set 1008, let's say. Then what it says, then true altitude will be high and indicated altitude will be low. So you can see, if I have set QNH 1010 and my aircraft is here, then what will be the true altitude? Will be this, right? And if I have set this one in my altimeter, then my altitude will be this. This is indicated altitude, this is true altitude. You can clearly see true altitude is more than indicated altitude. So that's what it is saying. Now, if you haven't seen the video about QNH, QNE, QFF, all that thing, you go and watch that video. I have explained all the things very deeply. So go and watch that video if you haven't watched that. And yes, this was all about it. In upcoming video, I will discuss about other things. For example, pressure systems, so what is trough, high pressure system, low pressure system, ridges, coal, all the things, and other some numericals and questions also we will see. So let's get tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed our channel, please do it, because so that you can get notification first, and let me know in the comment section if you have any query. Thank you so much for watching. We'll meet you in the next video.